Star Citizen and Jared, take it away.
There's a lot you can say about the upcoming pyro system. It's dangerous, obviously. It's lawless, certainly. But it's not all just chaos and carnage completely. It's also people just trying to make their living where they can in a place that's challenging and pretty different from the adjacent Stanton system. From repairing your neighbor's generator to supporting the nearby farmers, there's much you can do to be a social and upstanding citizen for Pyro's prosperity.
Wait. Farmers in Pyro? How the hell is there supposed to be farmers in Pyro? Does anybody have an idea how this works? How is there supposed to be farming in Pyro? Okay. I guess I'll wait for them to explain it to me. The fresh divorce haircut. Work in progress. Always work in progress.
So the planets of Pyro are different from Stanton in the fact that they all have to deal with the Pyro star system being at the end of its life cycle, emitting huge amounts of solar flare radiation.
I'm a streamer, bro. Back off.
And we have to consider, like, what is that actually doing to each planet? Naturally, Pyro 1, closest to the sun, is going to be the heaviest influence of the solar flare firing off. So how do those people live? But the people furthest away from the solar flare firing off. So how do those people...
So solar flares are supposed to be firing off all the time. They're strong enough to damage your shields, ship components, and they can even damage and or kill you. How do plants survive a massive solar flare smashing into the planet, radiating and flash frying everything in its wake? Because and solar flares, the other thing is, like, look, we have night vision scopes. I get it, but we don't have night vision. There's a lot of things that we don't have electronic wise. The solar flares also mess with electronics. Like, you really wouldn't be setting up shop planet side to attempt to farm if all your stuff is getting fried all the time. It gives plants protein, bro.
Live. But the people furthest away from the star on Pyro 6 are going to have the least amount of radiation, but it's also going to be super cold at the same time. How do those people live instead?
Flexible rocks.
In Stanton, you have huge landing zones, which are very protected, very safe, lots of security.
Radiation is what I...
In Pyro, there's no such thing. You're very exposed to the danger. Everything is a lot more spread out. People aren't huddled into landing zones. They have the entirety of the system to roam across.
Okay, so he said that, you know, it's more dangerous in Pyro. It's not exactly safe in Stanton either. Crime stats don't mean anything, really, except they give you a god marker if somebody wants to bounty hunt you. But come on, let's face it, there's very, very few legitimate bounty hunters that actually take those contracts. And the ones that do, I mean, it's kind of 50-50. Either they're good or they show up in a C1 and you're in a, I don't know, a Gladius or a Blade or a, you know, F7 or an F8. And like I said, they show up in their C1 or I'm trying to think of some other ridiculous ships. They'll show up in a Redeemer with just a pilot. Yeah.
There are no central sources of power in the Pyro star system. It's all decentralized, and each outpost has its own different identity and what it means for you as a player as you go to these different places. Should you be aligned with one faction, you can visit these locations.
Really, Rakumo?
Should you align with another faction, you can go to these other locations instead.
You've got a lot more to do there. So instead of going down, doing a mission, flying away again, you can go down, do a mission, do another mission, do a third mission, and then go to another outpost on the same planet, do some missions there. You have a much more involved experience.
So let's look at some of the places you'll be visiting.
What's up, man? I'm doing good.
So farmsteads are a small slice of life within the Pyro star system to get you into.
So, like, for real, man. Like I don't have a science degree, but the whole thing with master modes and the cargo is we're trying to make it more realistic and blah 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 and immersion this and immersion that. I really did not think plants would grow when they're getting radiation blasts from a solar flare. Like I am I wrong? Like I said, I don't have a science degree. I could be talking out my ass, but I did not think plants would survive a solar flare, atmosphere or no atmosphere. I really didn't. So I don't know. Like that seems to me like it's breaking realism and immersion, but that's just me.
Introduced to what it's like to live there.
Landing complete.
Make sure
There are
you
places to gather
write a Spectrum
harvestables.
post, boys.
Places to complete your missions, and ultimately your first introduction to how people live in the Pyro star system.
Farms are probably one of my favorite ones, just because I really like the vibe of them.
Why is there no farms in Stanton? Like, couldn't you have added it? You know, I'm not going to ask that. I already asked it, but I'm not going to ask that question. I know the answer to that.
It's the closest thing to a home feeling I think you'll find in Pyro. You feel like there's a smaller community living here.
There's a lot more fields of crops, there's a lot more greenhouses. For the lawless ones, we've got these like grub farm greenhouses, which are really cool as well.
UV protected?
They tend to be in a lot more open, plain-like areas, big fields of crops around them.
There is things to do, there's things to harvest, but it's also just the vegetation that kind of sits on a lot of the desolate landscapes that we have in Pyro. Give you a little bit of this mini feeling of like a little oasis.
There's one in particular on Pyro 2 that's really nice and has this really nice vibe, that kind of like lazy windmill circling in the breeze on a plain that's just like almost featureless apart from these few buildings on it. That really gives especially at sunset, like really gives an amazing vibe of like these people live in the ass end of nowhere, but are really trying to do their best.
I'm gonna go on a quick little rant here because Heavy Bob posted it in the chat. Here's my big problem with what's going on within Star Citizen. They put in these new locations, distribution centers, the fobs. I'm trying to think of some the new locations that they added in. They look nice. They look cool. They have no utility, and the missions are the exact same as they are in the bunkers that we currently have. There's no new added gameplay loops. There's no gameplay added around these new locations. But when you ask CIG and a large portion of the community, why the hell would you add these? And they say they need them for future development. Well, why aren't we adding, this is an alpha, why aren't we adding gameplay elements and then adding locations later, or adding gameplay elements with the locations? Because the other thing I've seen, and I would have to dig back a couple of weeks, couple of months into other ISCs and pull up, I think it was Elliot saying that a lot of these locations, they can't design missions around because of the way that they were designed. So what the hell? And then the other thing that you hear too is, well, we can't add these certain gameplay features until server meshing is done. And it's just this big, sorry, I punched the mic. It's this big loop-the-loop that we do every time they do something like this. Like, look, I understand Quana, you need, or StarSim or whatever the hell they're calling it. I understand you need server meshing for that sort of thing to work. Okay, I'll give you that. But designing new missions with new loot and new features and new other thing doesn't necessarily require server meshing to be complete. You can have that and then migrate it over once server meshing is done. So, like, why do we do this? Comanche brings up a good point. You can do medical rescues with the NPCs. I mean, they don't really walk around too far from where they spawn anyways. Do that. Like, yeah. I don't know, man. Like, there's no utility to a lot of these places either. And distribution centers, I thought that between 3.23 and 24, that they would add much more gameplay missions and much more utilitarian tasks to do within there, but they haven't. They really haven't. And I wish it would. I wish they would address this sort of stuff. Pagan, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good day at work, man.
To survive.
There are going to be some goods that are only grown.
And then lastly, the other thing is like when they add quality of life or like the new star map or the mini map or whatever, and the community's like the biggest patch ever. Like that's all stuff that's basic day 1, day 2 development stuff. And I'm exaggerating and being facetious all at the same time, but that's all day 1, day 2 stuff that's put into games when they first start development and are released to the public in early access or alpha. Like come on, that's really low hanging fruit, guys.
In Pyro, because of its unique star system, that can be shipped back to Stanton.
We have a whole bunch of new mission types.
Breaking news. I'm hearing from TJ Ramoyne that the PTU is down. They updated it and apparently broke it. And I agree, Bob. Why would you be handpicking fruit to go and sell it? Like it does not make sense.
You'll be able to do that. Then they're more geared around repairing pieces of machinery. We have what we call charge.
More fucking beams, CIG. More fucking beams. Thank you. I appreciate that. So now we're going to repair with beams too. Just does that mean engineering is going to be part beam, part replace a fuse or a component? Because damn, man, damn.
Drain technology coming over from Squadron, which enables you to transfer an electrical charge from one component to another. So you can like jumpstart a generator, for example. There's scope for much more gathering type of missions, like going out into the field, collecting crops. There's a big focus on non-combat at a place like a farm.
And here's the other thing. I want to collect pieces of fruit and vegetables by hand, and then have to use a clunky system to then move them from my backpack or core armor to the kiosk to where I want to store them. And then when I want to sell them, I have to move them from the warehouse or local inventory back to the kiosk, back to my body, then put in a cargo. Like the whole thing is, it's why? Just why?
Let's talk about scrapyards.
It does need to be meaningful.
The scrapyards are one of the few locations within the Pyro star system where you can actually service your ship that is not on space stations or LEOs.
We'll have more scrap in a scrapyard, which makes a lot of sense, but we've got the towering cranes with derelict spaceships in there, the skeletons of spaceships being pulled apart.
And we can see that there is a certain order to things where things get disassembled and moved around, and where your aircrafts are getting refueled and repaired. There will be a little shops as well to kind of get you on the way for your...
Whoa. Okay. I've gotten down on them for the realism and the immersion thing about having farms in a star system where there's regular solar flares that contain radiation and harmful UV rays to plants. And okay, I can kind of look past it because video game. But here's the problem that I have right now. If you go back in time, not even a full year ago, they were talking about how Pyro was not going to have mining outposts, landing pads, and etc. to go and refuel, rearm, and repair at, because they wanted to make it dangerous traveling from one place to another in Pyro. And they wanted to give meaning to the Starfarer. Is that it? Right? It is the Starfarer. That's the one that refuels. They wanted to give meaning to that ship. So once again, I don't know how much money that ship costs. I'm going to guess somewhere between $300 and $400 is what I'm going to get. Well, I'd say $275 to $400. I'm assuming is what that ship costs. So you're telling me that for the past 5 years plus, you've been telling people Pyro was going to be big and there was not going to be many places to refuel, rearm, repair, and refueling was going to be a major component of what Pyro was. And now you've taken that away too. Like, there's actual gameplay there. People want to do it. I know people in Discords that want to repair ships, sell them, make them their own, salvage them, refuel ships, all of that stuff. They want to be the maintenance crew of the verse. And I know a few of them. And you just took all of that away. You took medic gameplay away for the most part. It's still sort of there, but not really. And now you took away the meaning for fuel rats or maintenance guys or whatever you want to call them, the grease monkeys of the verse. And I'm not talking about the NPCs. I'm talking about players. And now you've made more places to land, to refuel, rearm, and repair. Can somebody please make sense to this? I don't understand this. Can somebody make sense of it? Like, I am not trying to. I guess yes, I am, dude. CIG, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, people may think that I don't like this game, that I hate on this game, that I think this game is trash. I don't. I think the development has been too long. I praise the developers when they deserve it. I think for the most part, a lot, not all, a lot of the developers do a good job. They want the game to succeed. They want their particular area that they're working on to succeed. But then I look at upper management and I just go, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, this is ridiculous. You've been promising real use for a Starfare for years, and now you took it away. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, they need an economy team. Their economy team is actually the marketing team.
Journey.
And we've got these large landing pits in all the scrapyards that are unique to the scrapyards, which are the big sort of sunken pits for repairing, rearming, refueling. They kind of bring that kind of unique, okay, this is a scrapyard because I know that there's a landing pit here, and they're the only types of outposts that have those.
I see your message, Ramon, about not being able to
here,
sell
you'll be able to interact with crash services, refuel your ship, repair your ship, even rearm your ship as well. In addition to servicing your ship.
Look, I think it's cool that you can do that, but this was supposed to be sparingly and in Pyro, and you weren't supposed to be able to just land anywhere and do this. So I don't know. Like, I'm not a refueling guy, and I don't have an inkling to do it. But for those that do, you just killed Pyro for them. And honestly, you don't want to be ganked. Like, here's kind of how I was looking at it. If you don't want to be ganked in Pyro, fly a Starfare. This is before they changed it. Fly a Starfare. Why? Because people are going to need fuel. Why would you blow up the fuel guys? Because they're going to get you the fuel that you need. People won't gank you. I'm sure maybe GrieferNet might take exception, but I don't know. I'm not trying to speak for them. But here's the thing. So when I used to play DayZ, there was a server that we played on. And on that server, there was a guy that had a way of getting things, right? The stuff that we needed, right? Nails, metal, blowtorch heads, all the hard stuff to find, right? He would play days and days, hours and hours and hours, right? And he was the server's trader. There was an unspoken rule on that server that this particular guy, I can't remember his name, we'll call him Potato Lover, right? There was an unspoken rule that you did not mess with Potato Lover. Potato Lover was the guy that you traded with. You needed nails, you needed screws, you needed metal, whatever it was that you needed. He was the guy to go and talk to. That was the guy. I think refuelers would have been treated the same way, like the unsung heroes of Pyro, because everybody would need them. The gankers would need them. The murder hobos would need them. The griefers would need them. The I'm only interested in PvP player or PvE players would need them. I'm only interested in salvaging players. They would all need them. So but that's just my view. That's just my view. Let's just call him Bob.
You can also service the scrapyard itself.
Streamer
You've got to
bro,
use
back
your
off.
charge and drain tools to be able to repair pipes, repair canisters, any faults in machinery, etc.
Bob?
It's very much
Bob's
about
Bob.
taking things apart and organizing them and shipping them off again.
But unlike the landing zones within the Sentinel system, there is no air traffic controller. There is nobody to filter out where you can go. You simply choose a parking space, you land there, you service your ship, and you must fly out.
See,
The new mission type that we have.
I only know of Pyro as of what it was supposed to be as of 2 years ago. The rest of it I've been filled in. Like Pyro was supposed to be a red dwarf star and it was supposed to have a red hue to everything. Now look, make fun of me if you want. I've been playing No Man's Sky off and on lately, and I absolutely love that this one planet that I'm on, it's when it's sunrise or sunset, the sky turns purple and it's amazing looking. And I think we could use more things like that. But obviously with one system, you can't really do that. And now Pyro has a regular sun. I think it's I forget my solar definitions, but I think that's our sun, and the one in Stanton is I forget what type of star that is, but we're getting basically the exact same sun, but with solar flares.
Is salvaging, but in first person.
I've really
so
enjoyed
you don't
No
need
Man's
to
Sky.
be in a ship. It will be something that you can do on foot. So salvaging all the various panels which have turned up at the scrapyards in order to process
But it's
them.
not even worth it.
Another
salvaging.
piece of non-combat gameplay at scrapyards might be repairing machinery.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, Heavy.
We have a
That's true.
system which uses the resource network and engages it in missions. So you will be able to, for example, if there's a broken piece of machinery, you'll be able to find a working piece of machinery, rip components and fuses and parts
Now, this
out
part
of that,
is cool.
apply it to the broken one, and make
But there
that
has to
run
have
instead.
meaning to
But
it.
of course, you've broken the first machine by doing that.
Without any landing zones in the Pyro Star system, we're using scrapyards to be able to help service your ships so that you can navigate to other locations on the planet, as well as get back up into space as well.
It is.
But the largest concentration of player activity is going
this
to be
the
happening at the
new-
navigate to other locations on the
Go
planet,
back.
as well as get back up into space.
Is this the new MFD system? Maybe I would have to see it from a first-person perspective, but this looks too small. It really does look too small. I would have to see it from first-person perspective.
As well. But the largest concentration of player activity is going to be happening at the trade posts.
Exactly, Bob. There needs to be meaning.
The trade
The one thing I like about games like DayZ, No Man's Sky to a degree, and some of these other survival games is that everything that you do has meaning, but it also has a consequence. Yeah, you can link me something. Everything has meaning or consequence, and I like games like that. The only reason why I don't play DayZ right now is because I don't want to get addicted to it again. And when you build a base in DayZ, you're pretty much married to it. And I don't want to play that style of gameplay, especially when I have to work 12 hours a day, 4 days a week, because when I work and come home, I really don't play games. I hang out with my family for a little bit, and then they go to bed, I go to bed, and I do the work thing the next day until I have a day off. And then I play video games or chill with you guys. So yeah, that's how I go about it.
posts are where the player is going to be dealing with trade and commodity, organizing themselves between different groups in order to purchase different food, water,
watch
ship
that one
weapons,
next.
ship components,
Thank you.
armor, grenades, med pens, whatever, you name it, it can be found and sold here.
They focus quite heavily on hauling, delivery, and shuttling goods around.
Trader posts are organized by several different factions within the Parastar system. At these different locations, you might find different inventory, different perks, different goods. So if you're aligned with Citizens for Prosperity, you might visit locations such as Jackson Swap on Pyro 2 or Conard View on Pyro 6.
We'll watch
Conard
it
View
next.
is in a very cold location that's very inhospitable, but people still need to be able to service and trade and do things around this planet. You can find different goods, different resources there, all being sold at this location. As Carnard View is sheltered within a crater, it is also a safer location away from other headhunter gangs nearby, so you've got fewer people competing for your wares or trying to pirate from you either.
Cosmic!
Jackson Swamp is sheltered between these two different cliff bluffs, offering them lots of protection. And through there we went for a spaghetti western style main thoroughfare with lots of different landing pads around. And because it's well established, it's got some nice defensive measures so that it can't be immediately attacked by any rogue factions within Pyro.
We see in Jackson Swamp, it's a hard environment that these people live in.
I hate these damn things. Like, I really do. Like, I don't understand the ATM for your items thing. I just don't get it. I really don't. I wish I could say I do understand it, but I don't, and I don't like it.
It's not an easy living.
Visually, it echoes like the rest of the sort of art style that we call the sort of frontier art style.
If we look at the buildings, we see that there's a lot of stucco elements, there's a lot of makeshift little knickknacks that people have gathered from around the Pyro system. It's a mixture of that hard Scrabble life and people trying to make the best of what they have and repairing things over and over again and like replacing things that break. You can see that the way that people are living there, it's very makeshift.
I like the design, it looks
Rooms
cool.
were built to have a certain purpose, but have lost that purpose many years ago.
There's still that sort of decorative, artisanal, craftsman-like elements in there as well.
I mean, the design looks cool, but why am I going there? That's the question I have. What is my reason as a player to go there? What am I doing? Can I make pizza in that oven? Right? That looks not. It looks like a good pizza making oven. But like, why am I going there? What is the reason behind me wanting to go there? What is the resource? What is the loot? What am I getting out of it? And what is the consequence? Like, I really want to know, because this just does not, like, once again, we covered it before. It's a set dressing. What is the purpose of this set dressing? To pick up a box? Damn, Rakumo.
The rough weave rugs and things like that. So we're trying to really like push that homesteading vibe in complete opposition to things like the space stations and, you know, Microtech, which up to now has been this very corporate, lots of metal, lots of angles, lots of edges, lots of sci-fi. This is supposed to soften off all those corners.
Why aren't you doing this in Stanton already? Hurston, half of Hurston is, you can have farms and homesteads and all of this stuff. Like, why is that not there? Why is it not on Microtech? Like, why? Like, why is this stuff not there? Why is it only in Pyro? And like, all we have in the Stanton system is like derelict settlements and derelict ships, and it's almost always filled with Ninetails. Yeah, I know they've added some other area, but like, we need these kind of settlements. And honestly, what I was hoping cargo missions would be is taking goods from one settlement to trade them at another settlement, and those two settlements working together. That's what I was hoping some, not all, but some of those cargo missions would be, is running goods from settlement to settlement, or going up to, like I said, I don't know, one of the landing areas, like let's say New Babbage, and one of the settlements on Hurston needs A, B, and C. So you go there and you get A, B, and C, or maybe you can only take one at a time, like A and B and C, and you fly back and forth delivering those goods, and they pay you for it. That's what I was hoping cargo missions were going to be. What I've seen from streaming, which isn't very much because none of them work well, is that it's just some message on the screen to get X thing and bring it to the X place. Like, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I still am just going to keep asking this question. Why are we going there? What is the reasons for me going there? I agree, Bob. We've gotten away. Like, I don't understand this. Star Citizen has gone away from NPC interactions and put everything on a screen. And I don't like that. There should be NPC interactions. Like, I should be able to go up and talk to somebody. I should be able to go up and talk to a person and they give me a mission. Or a random person on ArcCorp stops me and is like, hey, this evil corporation in area 24 took my kid. They're holding him hostage, you know, and you go to area 24 and, you know, even if it's a small area and you kick in the door there or use a door cutter to get in and you fight your way up 5 levels and you rescue the kid, or you know, you're on a settlement on Hurston and you're like, hey, what's going on here, guys? And they're like, oh, these guys stole our water filtration system. They took it to Aberdeen. It's ex-pirates. Go deal with them. Like, come on. Like, please give me something like that. I'm not even the biggest PvE guy when it comes to Star Citizen, but give me, like, come on. I don't want to have to go to my mobile glass every single time I want a mission.
You as a player can land whatever size ship you have.
That's true.
Purchase whatever size ship components and ship weapons you might want to have. You can visit the local warehouse or order any potential things that you might need to have, commodities, food, etc. Where anybody needs to be able to get something, purchase it, collect it. This is where all the players are going to be collecting.
I hate you, Grumpy, in a nice way. Stones.
But maybe you align yourself with headhunters and you visit locations like Gonno Steel and Golden Riviera. Gonno Steel is a smaller outlaw trade post perched in Pyro 4's massive crater. It's there as a stopgap between Pyro 3 and Pyro 6 because there is not much landmass around Pyro 5. Pyro 5 is a gas giant, and yet you need to have a midway drop-off to get from Pyro 3 over to Pyro 6 on the far side because Pyro's star system is far larger than Stanton.
I'm gonna get banned
Golden
by
Riviera
CIG.
is one of those sleazy towns which is just full of seedy people, absolutely taken over by the headhunters. They've butchered everything. They've changed how they want things to work.
It's kind of how I
Trade
feel.
posts are possibly selling slave pods and find other illegal goods, but it's just a central hub of like sleaziness.
Don't judge them.
It is still built out of this minimal things that are laying around. It's very a hodgepodge of different things that come together. What makes Golden Riviera different is that now a tornado just
It's called Golden Riviera. Where's the casinos, man? Where's the slots? Where's the blackjack? Where's Texas Hold'em? Come on, give me some gambling. Like, that would be a cool gameplay feature. Yeah, I'd play.
And through the entire place, it is absolute chaos. Bits and bobs are laying around. Things have rusted, and you will find mattresses of where people have been sleeping in the weirdest corners. We can see that the people that have been living in the space have really outlived this location a little bit.
The idea is that these are
A little bit.
Look, it's the ion cannon from Star Wars Episode Strikes Back. Episode Strikes Back. Jesus. Empire Strikes Back. Holy cow. It's the ion gun, though. It's the ion cannon. Watch out, Star Destroyers.
The idea is that these are once prosperous outposts that have since been like basically home invaded by the bad guys and taken over completely. So we use a lot of like more like fire and lots of spiked kind of like cladding and rusty metal elements just to give that kind of, I hesitate to say Mad Max, but kind of that more apocalyptic vibe, I suppose.
Jackson Swap, even though it is very improvised, it has a certain structure underneath it. And Golden Riviera, just this structure is nearly gone. It is really chaos, anarchy that this place really embodies.
I don't know. So far, I hear a bunch of it looks great. We put a lot of time into making it look good. It looks great. It looks good. But I see no functionality about it.
The players coming to our locations should feel like they are encountering a whole new frontier where people feel a little bit on edge and they're curious about you, but they're also hesitant to meet you at the same time. There is no law, there is no jurisdiction, there is no protection. There is just you and people trying to get by and live their lives.
I'll ask this question after this is done.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, hopefully that there's a whole lot more to Pyro than just...
So far, all I've learned this week is that there's still no Pyro system, and you guys keep talking about it like it's coming out tomorrow. Thanks, Jared. So here's my question. Are there going to be crime stats in Pyro? And if so, because we know players are still going to be like, oh, you shot at me, I'm giving you a crime stat. All right, Comanche, you have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. You shot at me, I'm going to give you a crime stat. Or is that gone? Like, is that totally gone? Is there no eye in the sky whatsoever? I forgot to look throughout the video. Is there no eye in the sky through any of this? That's right. That's the eye in the sky, right? So unlawful crime stats. Okay. But what they said that you can't jump from Pyro to Stanton with a crime stat with a CS3 or higher. And you can't jump from Stanton or you can't jump from Stanton to Pyro without a CS3. And welcome, Canop. So how do we clear our crime stats in Pyro? And they said, now I know the answer to that. They said they hadn't thought about that yet. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's got me scratching my head. Like I don't know what to say about it.